Alrighty, we are live. What's going on, Knicks Nation? Welcome in to everyone tuning into the Knicks Nation post-game show. So that one didn't end the way the New York Knickerbockers wanted it to end. They lose to the... I got to change this score. Sorry. They lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder by final score of 103 to 100. So let me just change the score for you guys. Wait for you guys, more of you guys to come in. Boom, there it is. Thought I changed the score. Apologies. Got some great looks there at the end. OG Anunoby came up short. Jalen Brunson had a good corner look, missed it long, and kind of a high-intensity basketball game we saw today. Both teams were on a back-to-back, and Thunder really had, momentum, I guess you want to say, up until the third quarter, where the New York Knicks just flipped the switch in that third quarter, dropping a 40 bomb in that third quarter, and it was an absolute amazing showing, and most of that had to do with Landry Shamet and Jalen Brunson in that third quarter that led the charge. We had Karl-Anthony Towns grabbing every offensive rebound out there, it seemed. And look, we'll go through the performances, but I just thought that we'll go through the fouls. It's frustrating playing this Thunder team because it seems like they are so good and it seems like they get away with a lot. And every team that plays them feels this way. But I guess that's part of the process in playing them. I'm not blaming this loss on refs, but there was a sequence in the first quarter where SGA should have definitely picked up his third foul. And that was the hottest I've ever seen Mike Brown scream at a referee. And if he picks up that third foul there, the whole game changes, in my opinion. And that's why Mike Brown was super hot at the ref, because it was clearly a foul. And they didn't call it because, let's face it, refs don't want to get SGA his third foul. And that's the frustrating part when playing the Thunder. But in the end, the Knicks, had their chances. They had a lead in the fourth quarter. Offense got kind of stagnant. Karl-Anthony, some of the calls are just like SGA would hook Karl-Anthony Towns and it's like a foul on Cat. I know Cat, fouled out tonight, but I'm just like how do they continue to get away with this stuff? It's fascinating, man. It's crazy. They're so good that they don't need this BS, and they still favor them, it seems. But yes, I love Mike Brown. Right when Mike Brown screamed at the referee there, I was hype. You could tell the crowd wanted to pop. This was a big game in MSG. The faithful were out there, and felt like a playoff atmosphere. Felt like both teams were fighting. It felt like the New York Knicks were fighting, and unfortunately, we got the loss. We're on the losing end of the stick, and look, it's not the end of the world. I really wanted this win, but yeah, I mean, we can go through the game. Once again, appreciate you guys in the chat. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the members in there. Shout out to Knicks Nation. Make sure you guys subscribe, like all the good stuff. Your New York Knicks lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder by a final score of 100 to 103. 3. El Figgy says, how is DOR at 3-4 and gets bench the rest of the game? Yeah, like that I will question. And then when Landry Shamet came in the game in the third quarter for Josh Hart subbed himself out because of the bad back. Went back to the locker room. He's okay. He came back in the game. That kind of changed everything. Like, Shamet was absolutely incredible in the third quarter. Like, really good in the third quarter. And the subs were weird tonight because they were on a back-to-back. You have no Mitchell Robinson. Ariel Hukporti, I mean, they had to play Jeremy Sohan at the 5 for like 2 minutes because Hukporti he's just not good out there at the moment. He's struggling, and I was worried about that last night. And the rotations in the second half were weird because Brunson went out with the injury, went back to the locker room. Alvarado comes in earlier than expected. Hart goes out with the injury. Shamet comes in earlier than expected. So I'm wondering if that contributed to the Diawara lack of playing time in the second half. And I'm sure that did. And I'm sure Mike Brown would speak about that. Because that was a weird one. But I'm sure that the weird in and out from the guys had to do with that. And yeah, Diawara plays 13 minutes, 3 of 4 from 3. Again, you just play him, right? Just continue to play him and play him and play him. Yes, I did want to see him more in the second half. That's a fact. But Shamet was so good. Alvarado was like okay. He wasn't really that special. Had a nice running layup, but that was pretty much it from Alvarado. Brunson was struggling until the third quarter when him and Shamet were going like back and forth, which was awesome. It gives you 15 assists. Season high, I believe. 15 assists for Jalen Brunson. You know, even though his shot wasn't falling, he was finding Knicks. Cat, gives you 10 points, and I really wanted Karl-Anthony Towns to be more physical. Be like, in terms of posting up. Like, get in position stronger. Because you could tell a lot of times the Knicks wanted to get him the basketball on the post, and the pass wasn't there. They didn't feel confident in the pass because OKC was pushing him out, and Cat just never really got position on the post to kind of take advantage, and that kind of threw it off offensively. But still, he gives you 17 and 17, dominant on the boards. Another double-double from Big Cat. No three-point attempts for him. And then OG 4-13. Mikal 1 of 5 from 3. Hits a big one at the end of the third to put the Knicks up, and the crowd is going crazy. And Shamet 0 of 3. Alvarado 0 of 2. Diawara 3 of 4. And I'm sitting here wondering why Mohamed Diawara didn't play more in the second half. But again, I'm going to point at those weird subs in and out. And I'm assuming that's what led to Mike Brown really not going to him in the second half. But it tough loss, man. A tough loss. I don't really feel too down about it. I wish that they would have hit one of those threes in the corner, but it just didn't go the Knicks way. Just didn't go the Knicks way. Appreciate you guys in the chat once again. Butch is in the chat. Joel, Eddie, see all of you in the chat. Randu, salutes. Castro, Daniel, him, D-Dot. Says so close. Tendro with Mitch. This is a win. Exactly. Him says with Mitch we win by 12. I don't see why not, man. It like this was like a weird flow to this basketball game. Like in the third quarter, Knicks like Thunder were like cruising. And then Shamet has this run of burst of energy in the third quarter, and the Knicks feed off of that. Leads to Jalen Brunson getting it going offensively in that third quarter. Mikal finally hits a 3 at the end of the third quarter, and I'm like, okay, let's go. Then you got to get them rest. Right? You got to get them rest, which is why I think Brunson started the fourth, and then Mike Brown took him out to get him some rest. And Shamet was out to start the fourth. Like, these guys needed a breather, but no one else, like Josh Hart, you know, man, I know he's dealing with the bad back. He gives you 12 rebounds, but OKC, once again, wasn't respecting him at all. Now, Josh Hart finishes the game 0-3 from 3, and I wrote it down here. He is now 6 for his last 26 from 3, Josh Hart. So he is going through it offensively right now as a unit. And Shamet coming in that third quarter showed everyone, like, he could ball with the starters. So anyone that wanted the New York Knicks to make that change in a starting lineup, Shamet's awesome, man. Shamet has become the best signing value-wise in the entire NBA, and he was a last-minute pickup. And here we are on March 4th, and I'm saying that he can very well be starting for the New York Knicks. If you were to swap him and Hart, some may say that's a better starting lineup. Some may say it's worse. I'm not saying either way, but I'm just saying Shamet is balling this year. Balling. And it's time for the NBA world to take notice, and many have. Many have. McKellen, his BS fadeaways. Got Cat his fifth foul. You know, a couple of BS fadeaways from Mikal today, especially on a fast break, which I don't like at all. I was just shaking my head like, that's him. That's him, though. He got to the free throw line, though. 2 or 3 and 1. But, yeah, man. Tough loss, man. And then I wrote this down. So, did you guys like the last couple of shots? Because the Knicks get the ball with about 16. Hold on, I wrote it down here. So, Thunder, they missed their attempt. Knicks get the ball with about 16 seconds left. Yeah, 16 seconds on the clock. They get the basketball. You could tell they didn't want to call timeout. Jalen Brunson really wanted to step up and pull up, and then it just didn't work out, and then the ball gets poked out of bounds. Timeout New York with 6 seconds left. They took a while to get in their offense up to that point. Like, they took 10 seconds to get a shot off. And, yes, they did get 2 good looks out of the timeout, but I really wanted to see some ball movement there. I know Brunson wants that shot, and he was on the left side of the court. Usually he's on the right side of the court. Usually he's awesome. He's money from the right side of the court. So, but, you know, credit to OKC. Defensively, they were just, you know, that's what they do. That's what they do. So, oh, man. I don't know. I'm not really crazy, but, like, this it's not a bad loss. Like, we were there at the end. Like, right there at the end. You know, anytime you're a shot away from tying the game, like I'm okay. Like, okay. Like, you could point to different things, like the fouls and the stagnant offense to start the fourth quarter that I didn't like. You know, the Josh Hart situation now that we have offensively, which is kind of reared its ugly head, and Brunson was just off. Like, one of the games where Jalen Brunson looked small tonight. You know, 3 turnovers for Jalen Brunson. Really didn't really get it going. The first, second quarter, he was just shut out, and then midway through the third, and then he starts hitting his shots in the third quarter, starts getting it going. But up until that point, you know, Thunder did a pretty good job on him. And look, the fouls, like, how many free throw attempts did we attempt? 22, and they attempted 25. 21 to 25 from them, 16 to 22 from us. So they attempted 3 more free throw attempts, and it doesn't really feel like it at all. They had 15 turnovers. We had 13 turnovers. We had 48 boards. They had 38. Man, look how many second chance opportunities we had. We had 10 more rebounds than them. And yet, we shot 29% from three, and they shot 38%. That was the difference. Defensively, especially, they do a pretty good job swinging the basketball around, finding the open man, and that's exactly what they did to kind of get back in the game in that fourth quarter. And, yeah, Knicks lose 103-100, man. Sucks. Sucks because I really wanted this one. Wayne says, Mike Brown's substitutions and lack of timeouts calling make me scratch my head sometimes. Yeah. Especially in the fourth quarter. Like, I think it got down to like 6 minutes before there was even a timeout on the floor from either team. I'm not going to get crazy over the substitutions. Like, I know El Figure brought it up. I know some of you brought it up in the chat. Say Quizzy says, I see why people hate the OKC. The refs on some BS. SGA should have had 3 fouls in the first and should have been one on OG, but I'm not mad about this L. I'm not mad about this L either. You should have had 3 fouls in the first. Mike Brown was super irate. The angriest I've seen Mike Brown ever, and for good reason. I was hype after he did that. I'm like, let's go, man. This team wants this win. Enough of this BS. You notice how the Thunder make every coach like that. They are super frustrating to watch. I'm sure they're super frustrating to play. Elfiggy says Landry, Mo, OG, Cat, and JB lineup was cooking. Why can't Mike Brown do right by us? Yeah, like I don't really understand the not playing Diawara in the I'm trying to go to his minutes. Let me find out how many minutes he played in the second half. Where we at? Mo D. He didn't play in the second half. No, 3 minutes. Yeah, 3 minutes in the third quarter. 3 minutes in the third quarter, 6 minutes in the first quarter, 9 minutes in the first half, 3 minutes in the second half for Mo D. So Shamet comes in third for Hart. Mo D gives you 3. Yeah, he should have played it more. He should have played it more, because he was like the one Nick that was hitting his threes tonight, man. 3 or 4 from 3. OG started off well, but 4 or 13 from 3. OG takes 13 threes. Mo's 3 or 4. Every night is 3 or 4, 4 or 5. He's on it. 15, 20 minutes for Mo. I thought Mike Brown made a mistake by doing that. But again, I think the injuries kind of threw off everything in the second half. But, I mean, even the Aria Hug-Porty experiment, I mean, 9 minutes, 3 turnovers for Huck. +7 though, if you're a plus minus guy for Huck. But the eye test this entire year just hasn't been there. So yeah, man, it sucks. Mike says, what's good? This is a game where you wanted to see both teams play, and the rest robbed us of that. That being said, I love the way we fought and played and figured out scoring. Yeah. Knicks fought hard, man. Knicks fought really hard, especially in that third quarter where they looked like it was getting away from them. It was getting away from them. And then Hart goes out, goes back to the locker room. Shamet's like, bro, I'll pick you guys up, man. Shamet's getting the crowd involved. He's going through screens. And that's how we should be playing. Like, Landry Shamet has been one of the best Knicks this entire season. And in that third quarter, it showed you why. That's how we should be playing. And we have been playing that way. But, he goes out in that fourth quarter. They bring Josh Hart back in. And it's just, Hart's just looking to pass at this point, man. He's not looking at the hoop. When he is looking at the hoop, you saw it in the first I think it was in the first quarter where Hartenstein wasn't even guarding him. Josh Hart was wide open in the paint. Hartenstein wasn't even guarding him. And then Hart's like, oh, I'm wide open. Let me take this floater. And he misses it. And he's going through a funk right now where he's just not playing well offensively, and teams have realized that and are not respecting him. Once again, Josh Hart is 6 for his last 26 from 3. Right? He's doing everything else. 10 points, 12 boards with the rebounding. But when we needed scoring, tonight, especially against OKC's length. And Shamet figured it out. Mo D was figuring it out. Right? Cat. That's the thing that bothers me with sometimes within this offense is, Hasiel, he's also killing the shot clock. Yeah. Tony says Cat is our number 2 option, and Josh Hart again is Josh Hart putting on more shots than Cat. Yeah, I was just about to say, I was watching Cat. Dominant offensive rebounder tonight. Ticky-tack fouls he picked up. He fouled out. I thought his last foul on SGA was BS, in my opinion. I don't understand how they continue to get away with this stuff, but they do. Complaining a lot. Was frustrated a lot. Team low -18 for Karl Anthony Towns. Offensively, I'm watching him. When he was out there with Alvarado's telling him to post up, and Cat is just too high. Use your body and get down low and get in greater position to catch the ball so you can go to work. At that point, it's just too late in the shot clock for the Knicks to wait for him to try to set up on the post. And he was a little bit slower in setting up on the post tonight. And super efficient, though. Put back 7 of 8, a bunch of rim stuff. Nothing from 3, though. Right? Didn't even attempt the 3. So one of those frustrating offensive games from Karl Anthony Towns. And I'm just hoping that it was just because it was against the Thunder, who figured something out defensively, and we're throwing smaller bodies at him, bigger bodies at him, getting him frustrated. You saw him complaining to the referees a lot tonight, and just getting him out of his game. And he only attempts 8 field goals, which should not happen at all, because let's be real, Thunder got a bunch of defenders, bunch of wing defenders, but Cason Wallace is a really good defender. Landry Shamet figured him out in the third quarter, was owning him. But Cat should be he showed you down low with the putbacks and the rebounding, the offensive rebounding. He can get position. But in terms of posting up and getting down low, which is why Jalen Brunson last week was screaming at him, go post up. He got to get down there quicker and let it not take 10 years for you to get position. So, yep. Jose telling him to move down, and he's just standing there. Yeah, it's just something that I've been noticing. He takes a while posting up, and it's kind of messing up the shot clock. And by that time, it's you're throwing around a grenade, and you're not really getting a good shot out of it. So, Wayne says Cat needs 7 or 8 more shots for sure. Mo D should start. CJ says hands down. Mike says the other players need to find Cat the way they find Brunson. Yeah, I agree. And then that's a coaching thing. That's a Cat thing. I thought tonight I would kind of, I wouldn't say blame is the right word, but I would kind of put it on Karl Anthony Towns more, because use your body and get down there. Get position. You're too high. And it sucks because the Knicks were right there at the end, man. Right there in the end. They're 3 away from tying. They have the lead heading into the fourth quarter. They were 19-0 when leading after 3 this season. And now they are 19-1 while leading after 3 this season, with tonight being their only loss, which sucks because I wanted this one badly. And I think SGA is Mike Breen said it at the end of the game is like 7-0 in the Garden or something. Crazy. So, but the Knicks were right there, 100 to 103. Wasn't a blowout. Both teams battling, SGA getting every foul call. Again, he didn't play yesterday. Hartenstein didn't play yesterday, so a little bit more fresh, but I'm not going to sit here and make excuses. The Knicks battled, banged up, and we just couldn't come away with a win. And it sucks because Boston lost tonight. So that's the thing that hurts. The Boston Celtics lost tonight, and you could have gained a game over them. That's kind of what I'm looking at right now. But kind of like a dogfight, man, a battle. A battle. They stuck with it. Little tweaks here and there. I want to see what Mike Brown says with the Diawara stuff. I want to see what he says with the rotations in the second half. I'm going to kind of chalk that up to, the injuries, the guys in and out. The Towns 8 field goal attempts. OG Anunoby just 4-13 from 3. 5 stocks though from OG. And Mikal was inefficient. 6-17, 1 of 5 from 3 from Mikal. His mid-range jumper wasn't really working tonight, and when you combine 5 of 18 from Brunson, 6 of 17 from Mikal, 6 of 17 from OG, and then you don't really feature Cat, and those 3 guys are inefficient along with Josh Hart, who just can't hit anything right now. That's kind of the recipe that led to the loss tonight. So, once again, shout out to the chat. Appreciate you guys in the chat. We're going to wait for Mike Brown to speak in a bit, but the New York Knicks lose 103 to 100 against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Not gonna lie, watching OKC though, it just I want to pull my hair out. Right? I honestly genuinely can't fathom going 7 games of this, or not even like a 7-game series of this. This is how they operate. They're very good at baiting fouls. SGA is one of the best, league's best at doing that. Like sometimes during the game, you feel like you're being cheated sometimes, but you're not. Like, they are that good. And I'm like, do you really need to do that? So, whatever. Knicks missed also 11 straight threes tonight. 11 straight threes tonight for the New York Knicks they missed. That's not good. Case and Wallace was giving them problems all night, except when Shamet got the best of him. Deflections. He's a really good player, man. I'm just going through my notes right now. Cat, offensive rebounds were awesome. The extra possessions were awesome. Brunson and Shamet in the third quarter. Huckporty was so bad that Mike Brown put Sohan in there. And shout out to Sohan diving for a loose ball and getting a jump ball. And we actually won that jump ball. But 40-point third quarter for the New York Knicks really got them back in this basketball game. And Landry Shamet was a big part of that. Continues to be one of the best value signings in the entire NBA. And that gives me really... The Shamet stuff is real, man. Like, honestly, guys, I can make a case for him to start. I can. I can. So, Elfie says, this is exactly why I said yesterday I would rather have saved Mitch for tonight. This would have been a statement win. Yeah, they kind of value the conference win over the Thunder win. You separated yourself more with the win yesterday versus Toronto, and Mitch was limping in that game. Hopefully he's okay. I read something that he was supposed to be doing tests on his ankle from Bondi or something like that. I could be wrong. I hope I read that wrong, but we'll see. SR Senior Cruz says Jameson would have been better than Huckporty. I agree with you. And it sucks because Hook Porty, I thought was going to blossom here in his second year as a New York Knick, right? Sophomore season, and he's been the odd man out of the sophomore players, right? He's been the guy who that center position's thin, man. Is really thin, and that's why I was nervous. That's why I wanted the New York Knicks to kind of bolster up that front court. God forbid something was to happen with one of our guys. We're gonna rely on Hook Porty, who hasn't really done anything this year. And I hate even talking bad about him, but let's be real, he hasn't. He's been bad. So I agree. Jameson would have played, like, knocked someone on the ground. Mike says, I was just about to bring up Hook Porty. Why didn't he play last night instead and miss tonight? Because he's still quite raw. Yeah, Brown said the conference thing. They wanted to get the conference win. They valued the conference win over the Thunder win, which, for whatever that's worth, doing tiebreakers here or there, you never know. So I get it. You know, I wanted Mitchell Robinson out there tonight, but back-to-back suck. You know, they suck. OKC was on a back-to-back too with travel, and we have a chance to redeem ourselves later this month against them. And Mitchell Robinson will be out there because it's not on a back-to-back. At least I don't think, and I hope. So let's go to OKC and beat them. They came to MSG and beat us. Let's do the same in OKC. But we could play with them. We kept it close. We just have to be disciplined. Know their tendencies. That's one thing that a team playing out west versus a team playing in the east, like, you really have to study their, especially a team that relies on a lot of free throws and fouls. You really have to study their tendencies. And now that we got a game against them, like, hopefully we can stick it to them later this month when we play them. So, but they weren't special. OKC didn't do anything special tonight. You know, SGA hit a nasty step back three in the fourth quarter with like a minute 20 left against OG Anunoby, which I kind of thought was the dagger. You know, after he hit that was probably, I would say, his best shot of the night. You know, he's 7-7 at the free throw line, picks up 2 fouls in the first quarter. Should have been 3, man. If you want to talk about something, that was a third foul in the first quarter. Changes the whole game. The whole game. If he has 3 fouls, we are not seeing him until probably the second half or later in the second quarter. Right? But the NBA, it is what it is. I love that Mike Brown got mad. You're starting to see some fights. Rick Brunson holding him back. I got hype. Because it's frustrating playing this team. Because they're really good, man. They're good. But I don't think SGA did anything special but that step back 3 against OG Anunoby in the fourth quarter, which I thought was the dagger at the time. Knicks could have tied the game. Unfortunately, they missed. And Chet was cooking the New York Knicks, man. Cooking them. He had 4 threes in the first quarter. Finishes the game with 28 and 8 rebounds. The Knicks really had no answer for Chet. They were leaving him open in the first quarter. If you want to point to that defensive lapse in that first quarter, it was that. They couldn't guard Chet Holmgren at all. He was just catch and shoot stuff. The Thunder were finding him. And from 3, he has actually been struggling this year. And of course, versus the New York Knicks, he found his shot. Right? What is he shooting from 3 this year? But he was open in that first quarter. 34% from 3 this year. Found his shot tonight, though. He was open. First quarter, Chet killed us. 28 and 8. Hartenstein didn't really do much for them at all. 0 points, 5 rebounds. That's it from iHeart. Dort hit some tough threes. Jay Williams hit a tough 3 in the 4th. And they made 16 of them. Man. Tenjo says Clyde Frazier calls him Holgram. Oh, man. El Figure says this is 100% on Mike Brown. The box score tells the story. Yeah. You had an opportunity to tie the game final seconds in the 4th quarter, and you didn't. I want to see what he says about the Mo D not playing, though. I'm not going to blame anyone. I'm not going to sit here and blame one particular person. You know, I just thought this Knicks team battled. They battled. But you just couldn't pull through. Mike says, I felt like we should have attacked SGA more, seeing he had his 2nd foul in the 1st. Yep. And they were doing that. Mikal Bridges picked up one of those fouls in the 1st quarter, and they were going back to that. And I would like to see that more. Like, that's one of the things that if you look back at the tape, like, even Brunson or Mikal or OG Anunoby, like, just go downhill against SGA. He's a good defender. His steals show it this year, but when he's in foul trouble, when you have a great player in foul trouble, you need to take advantage of that. And let's be fair, they did. Let's be fair, they did. He had 3 fouls in the 1st quarter. They didn't call it. Right? 3 fouls. This game was called weird, man. Yeah, OG Anunoby should have got that and one. You know, they're like challenging like the ticky tack stuff, and I'm just like, one side they're letting a lot go, the other side they're calling stuff tight. So I mean, yes, the OG Anunoby Holgram dunk was nasty. Was nasty. Do I have that? I don't think I have that. I have it on the Instagram at Knicks Nation. Tony, appreciate you guys in the chat once again. Smash the like button, subscribe, all the good stuff. Appreciate the members as always. Yeah, it was Chet that was killing us, man, killing us. Lou Dork. Castro says we see Mike Brown's passion to win. Yeah, 1st quarter. Screaming at the refs. Elfig says, how does Mikal get away with playing 40 minutes and goes 105 from 3 and 6 of 17? Come on, yeah. One of those inefficient games for Mikal, you know. And that's where I kind of want to see an adjustment. Because, look, Mikal hits that 3 to end the 3rd quarter. Puts the Knicks up, and he's screaming like he was engaged tonight, you know, defensively as well, but just inefficient offensively. And that's what the Thunder could do. They can take you out of your game. They made Jalen Brunson look small at times. You know, they were trapping Jalen Brunson. It was a pass that he made. He was trying to get it over the head of, I believe it was Cason Wallace, and they stole it. You know, just they smother you. You know, but I don't even think they. Like, that's the thing. Like, they're really good defensively, but tonight they didn't really, like, I just thought we missed some good looks, too. You know, and I just thought the rotations were funky in the third and 4th. And I think we win this with Mitch. You know, I'm not upset. Like, I'm not going to get crazy with this one. The only thing I'll get mad at is that, once again, the Boston Celtics lose. And if you go to the standings now, that's the only thing I'll get mad at. Is you could have had an opportunity to get a game on Boston. Right? You're still at a game and a half behind them. Right? You win tonight, you're a half game behind them. And it seems like every time we win, they win. Every time we lose, they lose. It's frustrating. Right? So, and Cleveland's breathing down your neck. So, Elfigi says, the league would never call those against Shea. That's a bigger discussion about the NBA product as a whole and how it makes the games unwatchable. Yeah. I really don't know what to do. Like, if you're what do you do? Because most of them, like, I would say 70% of the time he's getting fouled. And I saw tonight he was getting fouled, and they like, you can't call everything on him. They can't call everything on him. But he does foul bait a lot. And I kind of want them to not call the foul bait stuff. Because that foul on Cat that fouled him out, like, why? Like, there were many other fouls during the game in which you didn't call, and then you call that. Like, I just want some consistency here. Yeah, Chris, I don't like him. I don't like watching him either. You know, I'm not saying they rely on free throws and they rely on refs. They won an NBA championship, right? So, but it's known throughout the league. Like, it is very known throughout the league that they rely on those calls. And SGA is a free throw merchant. It's known. And we even saw some frustration with Jalen Brunson in the first quarter on the bench. Like, come on, bro. Like, are you serious? Like, frustration with everybody. So, I'm interested to see what Mike Brown has to say, if he has spoken already. But it is frustrating. It's frustrating. D-Dot says, I'm not afraid of OKC without the refs and foul baiting and free throw attempts. They're a bunch of frauds. Hornets demolish the Celtics. CJ says, Celtics got smoked. Joe Brown, what's going on, Joe? We needed this game tonight. We did. That's the thing. We needed this game. I would have liked to win at home in Madison Square Garden and gain a game against this Boston Celtics. But it didn't work out that way. CJ says, Brown wanted that tech to go on purpose. Yeah, it was on purpose. And I love it. First tech on Mike Brown this season. Oof, Mike Brown has spoken. And Mike Brown is... Mike Brown is coming. He's coming for SGA. Mike Brown, complimentary of OKC's SGA. He does, quote, he does a great job of convincing the referees, probably better than anyone else in the league, that he's getting hit. Well said, Coach.
Bruh.
He does. He does a great job at it. And he doesn't need to. That's the problem. Like, he doesn't need to. I want to see if Mike Brown, if they have video or audio. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Let me shut up. Here is Mike Brown talking about the challenges in facing an SGA. And let me just put this on the screen here. And away we go.
But one of the areas, obviously, is the free throw line. You know, SGA he's a tough cover, and he does a great job of convincing the referees, probably better than anybody in the league, that you know, he's getting hit, and you know, them shooting 84% from the free throw line compared to our 73% was a factor throughout the course of the game. And then, you know, I thought you know, we had good looks from the 3-point line. They didn't go in. You got to give them credit for being physical and, you know, playing as hard as they do, because over the course of the game it has some impact on it or effect on the 3-point shooting. But our guys, you know, if you're
basically calling SGA a foul bidder. Basically calling SGA a foul bidder. I'm here for it. I'm here for petty Mike Brown. I wonder if they ask him about Modi at all? No, they
I
didn't.
thought our guys, again, they could have folded at any time. We were down double digits, and I liked our competitive spirit. Our competitive spirit was great. Just, those guys make the game ugly. And, when that happens, you got to defend and you got to.
All right. So, didn't really ask him about Modi, but
He might get that fired up the way he got over that technical foul when I guess Shea got the no call on the offensive foul.
Yes, I've seen Mike. Yeah.
I guess does that do anything for you as a player, knowing that your coach is going to go to bat for you like that when the refs aren't?
Absolutely. I'm gonna have his back every single night. He has ours, regardless of what he does or the tech he gets or whatever. I'm gonna have his back.
players like Mike Brown, guys. I know many of you don't. I loved his tech today. I love his tech tonight. I just think this is a one-off, man. I think Knicks were playing so well, got out of their rhythm a little bit, and I think they're still in a good spot. But you can't let this snowball now, right? You can't let this snowball now. You got to win your next one. Here's the big cat, Karl Anthony Towns.
It's a good test to see where you guys are.
I think we're in a good spot. Especially you got 20 more games left. So, I mean, for us to compete the way we did and be, in the game the way we were, I think it speaks to us, continuing. I mean, we're still a work in progress. I think anyone can tell you that. We all will tell you that. But, we're getting close to that time where we need to be the best version of ourselves, and I see us getting better, and that's the most important thing right now.
Cat, we're in a good spot. So no panic in the locker room. Everything is like, I'm proud of our guys. We fought. And away we go. Let me go back to Safari, go back to the standings, and away we go. So Knicks lose 100-103 once again. Yeah, I mean, look, anytime, like, Brunson didn't have his Brunson game. He didn't have his Brunson game. And in terms of efficiency, right? The assists were awesome. Don't get me wrong. But efficiency. And again, I go back to the efficiency. When your three of your starters in your starting lineup are inefficient in Brunson, Mikal, and four of them are inefficient. Brunson, Mikal, Hart, and OG. That's tough. That's tough to come out of. And yet, you lost by 3 to an OKC team that were reliant on a bunch of foul calls at the end. Right? So, I would say that's a positive. But I would have liked to see some Modi in the fourth. But Mike Brown just didn't go back to them. Didn't go back to him. And I thought that was a mistake. If you want to point at that. Again, Jose Alvarado tonight wasn't. I would have he's another one who's not confident right now in his shot. If you notice it. Teams are going under picks. They're going under pick and rolls. They're not going over the screens. They want him to shoot. They are daring him to shoot. And he just is not shooting. And he shot 2 of them tonight, and he missed both of them. But I saw a lot of times tonight, teams are going under the screen, daring him to shoot. He doesn't want to shoot. So hopefully he can get a shot back. Source says, you want some Mo D? Hey, yo, pause that. El Figgy says the ref with number 54 got the Timbs and hard hat tonight. Bum ass refs. Oh man, you talk about the ref with the slick back hair? You talk about him? He got like a bowl of gel in his hair. His hair is not moving at all. Talk about that, ref. Joel says, last video we spoke about where Deuce would fit back in a team. This was the type of game where would we need him. Joel, I thought about you during the game, too. I'm glad you brought that up because exactly. It's exactly what I thought, right? Like Alvarado, good playmaker, good spark, but when you need some shooting on the floor, when your team is stagnant, who do you call? Deuce, Deuce, Deuce. And Deuce McBride, I thought about that question. I was like, man, the Knicks lead shooting right now. They're like Deuce. This is when Mike Brown would mix and match and put, ride Deuce more than a Alvarado, right? And hopefully he can get back soon, right? So, man, I wanted this one, man. I wanted this one bad. So they're 49-15. You're 40-23 now. Again, like nothing really. The only thing that jumps off to me is the 3-point percentage, 38% to 29%, and the free throw percentage. They're a really good free throw shooting team. And that's it. Like, you out-assisted them. They had 8 steals. They had no blocks. You had 3. They had more turnovers than you. You had 14 fast break points to their 2. And they took advantage of your turnovers. They scored 23 points off your 14. And you only scored 14 off their 16 turnovers. And they led by 15, and you still got back in the game. And we're there. Like, you were right there. Man, I wanted those OG shots that OG shot to go in. So, unfortunately, it didn't, though. Unfortunately, you didn't. Now you're still in your gauntlet of a schedule. What are you now? 5-3 in the 10-game gauntlet schedule. You go to Denver now, and of course, Aaron frickin' Gordon, of course, is going to return on Friday night. Madison Square Garden, even though it's not in MSG, but Aaron Gordon will return for the Denver Nuggets on Friday, making that team even tougher. But we played Denver well. Like, we played Denver well over the last couple of years. So let's go to Denver and ball the hell out. Let's do it. Wasn't last year the Denver game where OG and Obi just went off and scored like 40 points? That was last year, right? In Denver. So, Denver, Lakers, Clippers, Utah, Indiana. You're back on the road. 5-game road trip now. And, away we go. Let's hit the Discord. Let's hit Yuri. I see Yuri waiting. Apologize for keeping you waiting, Yuri.
And what's up, brother?
What up, Yuri? What you got tonight? How are you?
Man, what an effort from the Knicks. Couldn't pull it out, unfortunately. Oh, boy. That was a lot to unpack, that game. The minute I saw SGA get a no call on the first quarter, I was like, I already know how this game is going to go.
Exactly. Sorry.
And you just saw the calls nonstop, man. They couldn't even play a lick of defense on OKC. And then you got OKC dodging that they're not getting their calls.
Yeah. Frustrating, man.
And you still didn't
that
blow us out.
non-third foul call in SGA changed the basketball game. It did. So, what can you do, though?
Listen, Mike Brown, I will say one thing. Mike Brown was very Tibbs-like today. Very Tibbs-like. I'm not even mad at it. Listen, you trust who you want to play, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you die on that hill. I felt like Modi could have gotten a lot more minutes tonight. But then I saw the turnovers that he had, and Mike Brown was like, okay, you know what? I'm not really trusting him right now. So I got that.
Mm-hmm.
And JB didn't have it tonight. Back-to-back, I'm not really sweating this as much as I was. But, again, if you're going to beat OKC, you need to have your A++ game, man. You got to have your A++ game.
You do. And we got him again at the end of March. it's fun to judge these teams in the West, which I think we play pretty well. If you want to take anything out of, like, I think we play them pretty good. But let's be honest, the only way you see them is in finals, right? So,
Right.
That's why it's tough to judge, but,
I like where the Knicks are at, though, Ant. 20 games left. I like where they're at.
yeah,
I do.
so do I.
I'm not really worried about. And I want a conversation with you real quick, because I've seen a lot of this from Knicks fans, not just in general. Do you think it's time to change the starting lineup?
I don't
Knicks play
know.
better
Then
with
the Knicks are
5
what, 15-5 or 15 and
Fought in the lineup. That's what I'm saying.
over their last like 20.
Yeah.
But on the other side of the argument, I kind of understand the inserting Landry Shamet in the starting lineup, right? I just think what it is, Yuri, is a lot of Knicks fans have seen this starting lineup a lot.
Under Tom Thibodeau.
A lot. Like, they've seen this starting lineup fail. We just saw it fail, right? Tom Thibodeau just changed it in the playoffs there versus the Indiana Pacers. And, right, then he went back, right? So it's like, I just think a lot of Knicks fans are tired of it, and yet, if you look at all the offensive numbers, the defensive numbers, the Knicks
It's been really good.
It's been really good. But I'm not going to sit there and say that Landry Shamet is should be like
in the starting lineup.
Like, yeah, like it wouldn't hurt if I see Landry Shamet for a couple of games down the stretch in the starting lineup just to see.
At least just to see how it looks.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt me.
It wouldn't hurt, like just to give Hart a breather. I know he had a bad back tonight. I expect Hart to sit out probably, if anything.
Yeah.
I was amazed that he even played tonight, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not mad at the loss.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I understand it. But maybe it's just me. Cat had it tonight. OG didn't have it. Mikal didn't have it. Those shots, you got to hit every shot against OKC, and you have to.
You got to hit the open ones. You got to hit the open ones.
We missed a lot of them. I'm going to put that up to Tire Legs today, Ant. Tire Legs, they ain't have it. They ran out of gas. But if anything, what this shows me, I like our chances against if we meet OKC in the finals. I really do.
Let's go, Yuri.
I like our chances. This game, I'm not mad about this game one bit.
I'm not mad either. Yuri, appreciate the call. Shout out for you for the support. Yeah. Not like I'm upset that we lost. I'm upset that we didn't gain ground against the Boston Celtics. This tweet, the reason why I have it up, this is Leon Rose's daughter. She's kind of like trying to tell Knicks fans to relax. She says, I'm so ready for the playoffs final after a back-to-back. Yeah, so she's actually looking at this like this was a enthusiastic loss. And then I think Erica Brunson, what's her name? Erica Brunson? Jalen Brunson's sister. She said something like, the guys were tired, they missed free throws or blah blah blah. So, they're trying to like calm everyone down. I don't think anyone's going crazy over tonight's loss at all. But definitely don't want this to compile here. Like, you want to go to Denver and get the bad taste out of your mouth, because it's a tough stretch, man. Like, 5-game road trip. And Denver, Lakers, Clippers, Utah. I know the Lakers are struggling. That's always a tough matchup. At the Clippers, that should be a win, right? At Utah, the House of Horrors, we'll see. We struggle. But Denver's a really good test. And again, we played them well over the last couple of years. But you don't want these losses to start compiling, because, again, I go back to the standings, and the Cleveland Cavaliers are breathing down the New York Knicks' neck. So let's say you lose the next 2 or like 3, God forbid, then you find yourself back in a 4th seed, and that's what you don't want, right? So now is when we start watching the standings, right? So 19 games left, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. 19. We played 63 games. It's crazy. And I want the 2 seed. And I do think they'll get the 2 seed. I think they'll beat Boston. Or the final 3 games of the season we play Boston. I think we'll get the 2 seed. Tatum's coming back. He's coming back. It's a matter of if. It's a matter of when, not if, in my opinion. We're seeing that float around. Tatum's coming back. We don't know if that's going to ruin their chemistry. They're a really good team. But, they got smoked by the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets have won 6 in a row. They are 7-3 in their last 10, and they are creeping up into the top 6 in the Eastern Conference. It wouldn't shock me if Charlotte finishes number 6 or in the top 6 at all. They are balling. So you have a bunch of teams in a play-in. 32 wins, 33 wins, 32 wins, 31 wins. And 2, 3, and 4 are separated by like a game and a half. 2 games. Come on. Come on. El Figgy says, this isn't a completely meaningless loss. Yeah, it's not. It's not. It sucks. I'm upset. I'm not angry. It is what it is. Guys played hard, back to back. We get it. Brunson had a good look. OG had a good look. One of those shots goes in. Who knows what happens in overtime? Should the New York Knicks have called timeout off the rebound with 16 seconds left? I don't know. Again, they took 10 seconds off the shot clock with Brunson there. But it's one of those games. One of those games. And we just have to move on to Friday. Chris says, I think the Hornets can take the Pistons out if they play them in the playoffs. Yeah, Hornets are good, man. Hornets are good. They're really good. So you go back to the drawing board. Source says Josh Hart needs to retire respectfully. Source wants Josh Hart to retire. Damn. Nah, Hart's just going through something offensively in a funk. He's going through a funk right now, and hopefully he can. Look what they were doing to Cat. This is what I mean, man. Look at this. He's like getting draped by everybody. No call. It's crazy, man. Ben Stiller even says the SGA whistle is a thing. Ben Stiller. All right, guys, let me get out of here, man. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Once again, shout out to you guys for the support. As always, subscribe, like, all the good stuff. We are back doing a podcast. Look out for that. Look out for a podcast episode coming to your inbox. Hit the notification pretty soon. Hit the notification bell and make sure you subscribe, like, all the good stuff. And I'll catch you guys next time. As always, I'm Anthony from Knicks Nation. Make sure you guys have a good night. And enjoy your Thursday. And I'm out of here. Peace.
Brunson a 3. Bang! Jalen Brunson!